Hello and welcome to Mostly Vintage Cameras. Today I've got a deluxe professional camera to show you, but before I show you the camera I wanted to show you this box because it comes from 1982 and not many of the original packaging have survived the test of time. They've all been thrown away and so forth. And I think it was worth taking a little look at it. And I want to play a little game as well. I've covered over the branding on this box. In a moment I'm going to ask you to pause the video and leave a comment indicating what brand you think this camera is, or alternatively what brand you think this camera is emulate. So you can see in the corner here we've got a suggested retail price of 299 United States dollars. We'll come back to that in a moment. And it's the Super Sport model. Now it's quite a big box and quite a small table I'm working on, so I'm just going to pan up a little bit. We'll see the top half of the box where the branding is. So as you can see, it's a deluxe camera kit. And it is a kit. We get the camera, we get the flash unit, the lens cap, the strap, the case, and as you can see, Kodak film is recommended but not included. So that's good, isn't it? So stop the video now, just pause it and leave a comment saying what you think this packaging is reminiscent of. Okay then, having done that, I hope, let's take a look. And I'm sure a lot of you will have realised, of course, this is the well-known Photographic brand. Now I say 1982 because in 1982 a company set up shop in Taiwan called Ouyama, also known as New Taiwan Photographic Corporation, and they started making an awful lot of these things. So just take a quick look at the box. Focus-free 35mm camera. That is very true, it is entirely free of focus. Deluxe electronic flash unit with extended arm, very nice, and the case. So $300 in the US. It's not just a deluxe camera kit, it's a professional camera set. So this is a deluxe professional camera set kit, and it's also known by the name of MDL HD 6000F. We flip over to the other side, it's got pricing in US dollars, and on the other side God's British pounds. And just as a historical note, $300 in 1982 or thereabouts was equivalent apparently to £149, so you got $2 to the pound in those days. Don't be fooled by this gold striping and the black corner cut off. It's not reminiscent of Kodak, nor is the sea of yellow, of course. Anyway, that's enough about the box. Here's the camera. It's a crappy little piece of plastic. So hopefully now that will be a little bit more filling the frame and we can take a closer look at this and its various things. It's pretty obvious at this point this is not a £150 or $300 camera, and in actual fact, as we'll see in a moment, that was not a reasonable price. That was one of the lower prices that these things were sold at. I've met people that have paid 125, 150, 200 and 225 pounds for these cameras. And the way it works is someone will stop in a car park or in the street and they'll say, "Oh no, I'm speaking to my daughter, can you help me? She's rushed into hospital, she's pregnant, she's I need £100 to get back. Look, I just bought this camera, it's £150, but I need £100 for the train. I'll sell it to you for £100. Or they'll ask you directions to somewhere that's well signposted, like a train station, and they'll be overly enthusiastic and overly grateful and thankful that you've given them directions to somewhere that they knew full well where it was. And then they'll say, "Yeah, I'm not familiar with this area, I've just done a delivery for my boss and we've delivered a consignment of these but the warehouse picked one too many. I could take it back but actually I'd rather sell it. You get a cheap camera, I make a couple of quid, nobody knows any the wiser, know what I mean, governor?" Or they'll have one of these pop-up bankrupt clearance temporary stores in the high street with the loudspeakers outside playing blary music, and they'll say, "Oh, we've got some mystery boxes. Don't open them here because if you get a good one," and they're all good, but some are better than others, and I don't want somebody seeing a really good one and then getting just an average of a good one. So please don't open them here. He'll give me £200 for a mystery box. And of course, they'll be working in cahoots with ringers in the crowd. Go out the back and say, "Yeah, over here, mate. Okay, Bob, over there, £100, take his money." And of course they'll open it there and then in the crowd and they'll see that it's got a brand new game console or a mobile phone or something, and then the second ringer stood next to him and go, "Oh, that's brilliant, yeah, I'll have one. I'll have one too," says the third ringer. And then people think they're getting some good stuff. And if they pay £100 and I open it there and then, having been asked not to. The ringer said, well, that's why we asked you to take it to the car. You know, you've got a £150 camera for 100 quid. The next to the guy that got the Xbox, obviously it's not quite as good, but you'd have been quite perfectly happy to take it back to the car. Of course, you wouldn't have been quite perfectly happy because this thing is garbage. So enough about the scams that went on that did this. By the way, if you sold these in the 80s or early 90s, leave a comment below explaining yourself, you thieving toe rag. With that personal message out of the way, this is the lens cap. It was mentioned on the list of instructions. Lovely premium quality lens cap. This does actually have a genuine use. So imagine if you were taking something apart and you needed somewhere to put your screws so you didn't lose them. You could just rest them in there and use it as a little screw retaining tray. The camera itself has an optical lens, so that's good. Claims to be a 50mm 5.6, although interestingly on the viewing window it only goes down to 6.3, so it's a 50mm 6.3. On here it says it's focus free. On the instructions it says it's pre-focused. I quite like the idea of the pre-focus. I think it's focused on the thieving toe rags bank account that sold it to you, rather than on any subject that might be in front of the camera. But let's put some batteries in and see what happens. Now I did take some pictures with this, and actually they were interesting more than bad. I mean, they were bad, but they were bad in an interesting way. So 2 AA's. I know a lot of people like cameras that run on AA's, but that is not a redeeming feature. There we go, there's the motor kicking in. It is motorised film transport, full motor drive system, FMD. And this one actually works long enough to be able to run a 27 exposure film through. The optical lens also has this clear plastic cover. Most of these actually flex when you press them, but this one actually seems to be a little bit thicker, a little bit tougher than most. Behind there is the actual lens, which is kind of similar to a disposable camera. It's got a bump on the top as though it were a single lens reflex camera, but of course it's got a little viewfinder on the side. The viewfinder is actually surprisingly accurate in terms of what the lens sees. I was expecting far more parallax error than there was, but it's appalling. It has some kind of optics in there which produces almost a circular highlighted image in the middle. It would have been a better quality viewfinder if they just put a plain bit of plastic on the front and the back and left a bit in the middle out. Hot tube flash unit. I'll show you the deluxe flash unit. There's the extending flash bracket. This one's actually not too bad in the sense that it actually stays attached to the handle. It's only the top bit that's the flash unit. All of this additional plastic is just additional plastic. Now in truth, moving the flash away from the lens is a good idea. It does get a pass on that. And this particular one, this Photographic branded one, the coiled cable does actually feel like it's a reasonable quality. Most of the coiled cables that you get on these feel like they're made of, well, not cable. So there's the flash unit, sits on top. This one doesn't work, no surprise there. And I'll show you the tray that comes inside the box as well. I should have done that earlier. So we've got our camera. This one is also a photograph. Oh dear, this is terrible. But this one has the new colour optical lens. Oh, that one's pretty sturdy as well. This actually says it's 6.3, and it even has a serial number. It's falling apart because it had corroded batteries, and you can see the quality of the wiring is poor, to say the least. So there's your camera. There's a flimsy case, a cheap instruction leaflet. We'll get rid of all of that. These things were marketed under numerous names. Photocraft is probably one of the least misleading. Other brands or other names stamped on them were things like Olympia, vaguely reminiscent of Olympus of course, Nokina and Nokia. Nokina is actually a Nikon written backwards, so that at least is a bit of a funny pun. And I found so far about 24 different brand names they were put under, and I'll put a list in the description below. If you see products with any of those brand names on, best avoided. I'll also list the various model numbers I found for these in the description below, so you can keep an eye out for those as well. If you know of any more names they're sold under or any more model numbers, please leave me a comment and I'll add them to the description. Film loading, open the camera back, put the film in. An interesting feature that's always surprised me about this, we used to see a lot of these in the retail store back in the day. Everything about this is meant to deceive. It's meant to look like an SLR, and it isn't. It's described as a professional outfit, and it isn't. It even says it's a 5.6 lens, and it's a 6.3. And yet, they've put a curved film plane in here, and a curved pressure plate, which is plastic incidentally, in a half-hearted effort to make it a little bit sharper edge to edge, because if it's well, I won't go into the technicalities of it. Film goes in here, film leader goes in here, click wind, and away we go. They have other variations on this style of camera. Some look a little bit like camcorders or bridge cameras. Here's another one. This is a Canomatic, obviously nothing to do with Canon, although they were actually sold with Canon branding on at one time. This is quite a posh one. We've got another deluxe flash unit with a zoom head, which is curious because it's not a zoom lens. This also features a self-timer, which I don't have the courage to try, and a little waist level finder. So you've got the finder on the back here, the optical finder, and then this waist level finder for, I guess, candid photography. It's got advance and rewind controls. So this is, you know, going up in the market, a little posher. And it's got a curious thing that ties in with the zoom head flash unit. The apertures are changed here. And it looks a little bit like a power zoom, but it's only changing the aperture. You can see the aperture values are written there, 6.3, 8, 11, 16 and so forth. The lens is very nearly attached properly to the camera. If we look at the aperture, if I can get them on camera, just in the middle here, it does actually work. Some of these cameras with the manual adjusting apertures, it doesn't give you the, actually I don't think this one does either, the maximum range. I don't know if it would be possible to transplant this lens onto a mirrorless camera or something. This did have, or would have had, a one of those optical lens fake UV filters on. We can see here there's quite a gap in the construction there. Oh, hang on. There it is. Make sure we get it straight. Don't want it to be, you know, wrong. And we'll take a picture. Good. The awfulness of it can't be underestimated. Let's get rid of that. Now these cameras are quite heavy, and the reason for that is, if you remember the one that was in the polystyrene tray, let's take that off. This is just so awful. It's got quite a big gap here, and what came out of that big gap was this big lump of lead, or metal I should say. I'm not sure it's lead, I believe it is. So that would have sat in there to give it a reassuring professional weight. If I take a little piece of metal, I've already done it on the back here, I'll do it again. It's very easy to scratch away the surface, which is what makes me think it's lead. It's not magnetic, I know that much. So there we go. Please don't buy these, and if you see them for sale, every one you see for sale represents somebody that got robbed or misled or deceived, or however you want to dress it up. I've met several people that came into the store with these cameras, and they would say, oh, I bought this camera, I'm not very happy with the pictures. We wondered if we could part exchange it. Wonder if we could part exchange it for something else. And we'd say, well, no. Some of them came with sort of nice accessories. The Canomatic came with a, you know, half-usable case. Oh, there goes my microphone. Some came with a an aluminium case or an aluminium skinned case. And oftentimes the people that have been duped on the street or in car parks were the people that could least afford to lose 100 or 150 pounds, and it was really quite upsetting to have to tell them that they'd been ripped off essentially. So there it is. I'll show you some photographs. Now the photographs, don't buy one of these thinking you're going to get, you know, dreamlike photographs, because the chances are it won't work, and if it does work when you get it, it's not likely to work for very much longer. But some of these pictures do have a kind of a dreamlike image because they are so soft, or a dreamlike look, and some of them have like a model village appearance. But let's take a look at a few now. So I think those photographs were more surprising than anything else. But there we are. This has been the wonderful world of the so-called scammer, as some people call them. I've just noticed that although these two cameras were both photographed, they have slightly different flash units. This one doesn't appear to be as well attached as the other one, but that doesn't really matter. Should you buy one? Obviously not. I am curious, I have to say, about the possibility of grafting one of these lenses onto a digital camera. Ooh, that almost works. I've lost the aperture mechanism, but that's okay. And I think without the silly optical lens fake UV filter, that might actually perform a little bit better. But maybe I've got better things to do with my time, and I'm sure you have as well. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Do have a good day.